Handel and Hendrix. George Frideric Handel, the composer, and Jimi Hendrix, the musician. What else do they have in common apart from their music? They used to live next door to each other. Mind you, about a 230-year difference. But Jimi Hendrix says he saw Handel walk through his flat. Now stay tuned and I'll take you through their places. Welcome back to the Brac Shop, and I'm Tom from the shop. Now, I'm going to tell you about Handel and Hendrix, two famous musicians. George Frideric Handel, who lived basically in the 1700s. He was born in 1685 and he died in 1759. And Jimi Hendrix, popular in the 1960s. Born in 1942 and passing away in 1970. What else did they have in common apart from their music? They used to live next door to each other. Well, about 230 years difference. But Jimi Hendrix says he actually saw Handel walk through his flat. And this topic has been requested by Fairy. She wants to know about Handel's house. So, here it is, and you're also getting Jimi Hendrix's place as well. So thanks for requesting us, Fairy. So I'm going to take you on a tour of the flat, and let's have a look. Now, don't forget, if you like the episode, press the like button, and if you haven't subscribed yet, subscribe and click the bell so you don't miss out on my videos. Now that people are getting back to almost normal life again with the coronavirus filtering its way out, hopefully we'll be able to actually get out and about and have a look around. And I'm sure Handel's house will be open again very soon. Now, Handel's house has changed a lot over the years. It was built in 1723, and back then this whole area was a residential district. There was no shops on the ground floor. This is where people would live. A very nice area of London at the time. And actually, if you go to the Handel's House website, there's actually a video where you can see the changes of the house through the years and to the present day, to when it was totally renovated in the 2000 and opened up to the public as a museum for where Handel used to live. So I've put the link down below and you can have a look at that link and see the changes of Handel's house as well. Now, when Handel moved in 1723, he used to live on the ground floor. In the basement would be the kitchens, and on the first floor is where Handel would write his music. And the front room of the first floor is where his harpsichord would be. And that's where he'd also have recitals and rehearsals for his music. The very upper floor, the second floor, would be his bedroom. And the third floor would be his servants' quarters. He had a male servant through the years, Peter LeBlond. And the servant would live on the very top floor. As I said, the whole house has totally changed. And the entrance to the house is actually from the rear. You can see this is actually the courtyard of Handel's house at the back. You can see the modern extension which is now the entrance today. And if we go behind, you can see Jimi Hendrix's house to the right, and beside it on the left is Handel's house. And this is the entrance at the back where you enter Handel's house. Now, as you go up the stairs to the first floor, all of this is totally being rebuilt. You can see the two pictures of Handel and Hendrix together on the wall. And you just go up the steps and to the first floor where we begin the tour of the house. So after coming up the steps, we come into the first floor of Handel's house. And this is the first floor, and this is actually the back room of the first floor. So this is the back room, and then we move in to the next room here, and this is where Handel would actually compose his music, where he'd sit and write his music. All those fantastic music, like the water music, the fireworks music, which was actually used in Green Park. The door at the end of the room actually leads into the front room, where Handel would have his harpsichord and give his recitals. In fact, they still hold recitals at Handel's house quite often. So just look on the website and you'll be able to see what events they'll be having here. And I couldn't actually have a look inside today because they were actually preparing it for another recital. Now the door beside that, to the right of that, actually leads to the house next door. Now back in 1723 when the house was built, and right up to Handel's whole time that he lived in that house, that would have been a complete war that would have been there. There would have been no thoroughfare into the next house. But when they were restoring the house, they actually used next door as the office for renovating Handel's house. So we'll go through and have a look. You can see these steps here. Now these are the steps that belong to the house next door. So actually Handel would never have walked up these steps unless he was visiting the house next door maybe. But these were the steps that Jimi Hendrix would have walked up and down to go to his flat at the top of the building. And then we go to the back room, which is another room of items that would have been relevant for Handel at the time and through the years as well. And don't forget, this room would have been probably the back room for the house next door. So cutting across, we come to the steps on the Handel's house side, and these are the steps that Handel would have used to have gone between the different floors. So let's make our way up to Handel's bedroom. This is the middle room, and this is basically, I would say, if I've read it right, his dressing room. Although there is a further back room, which I think he may have used that maybe to get changed, or even use it as his bathroom maybe. Although there is a chamber pot in his room, and he probably would have done all his toiletries in his bedroom. But this is the middle room, and this is where he probably would have got changed, and his servant would have helped him get changed as well. And you can see the red robe here, and this is what he probably would have worn. And the red robe you can see here was his dressing gown. This is what he'd wear while he was at home. It's a bit of his lounge clothes, like we'd wear some track pants and a t-shirt at home. This is the sort of thing they would have worn at home back in those days. And we go into his bedroom. This is where he slept for 36 years, and it's where he passed away. And this is the view from his window. Totally different sort of thing that he would have seen back in the early 1700s. Now we take you up the steps to the servants' quarters. Actually, Peter Leblanc's quarters, his Handel's manservant that he had for most of his life. And we go up the steps, and this is the original wood paneling of the place. Restorers stripped away 28 layers of paint to reveal this original structure. Today, these take you upstairs to Jimi Hendrix flat. Now, this is the exhibition room of for Jimi Hendrix, but originally this is where Peter Leblanc would have lived. This was the servants' quarters, which is actually quite a good spacious layout for the servant. Now we'll take you through to Jimi Hendrix side. Now he was a musician in the late 1960s. He was a guitar instrumentalist. The Rock and Roll Hall of Fame actually states him as the greatest instrumentalist in the history of rock music. That's how big he was at the time. And he lived in a small flat. So we'll go through into his flat. Now as we come through here, now originally this was the house next door. So we're actually leaving Handel's house and we're going to the house next door, which, don't forget, was totally separate. So there would have been a brick wall here, and the steps that would have originally taken you upstairs to, I believe, where the bathroom was. Maybe the kitchenette was up there as well. Now this is the bedroom where Jimi Hendrix would have lived, and his girlfriend, Kathy Etchinger. They've restored the look of the bedroom to its original condition. They've done research on the photographs that have been taken in this room and recreated exactly what the room would have been like. Now the only original thing that is from the room from that time is the mirror. That's the original mirror that was in this room when Jimmy and Kathy were here. So if that mirror could talk, the stories it could tell or play back. And this is the back room, the storage room. Jimi Hendrix used to use it as a storage room, and sometimes for guests when they stayed over, they could sleep in this room as well. So where are the ghosts? Jimi Hendrix said he saw Handel walk through his wall. He said he saw an elderly gentleman with a long robe and a long plaited hair at the back. And he thought that was Handel. But you know what? That could have been the ghost on Jimi Hendrix's side of the house. So it could have been anybody. Now, there was hardly any reports of ghosts on Handel's side of the house until they started the renovations. And workmen actually said they experienced seeing like shadows on the side and shadows of a woman. And other people have noticed a smell, a fragrance, ladies' perfume in the house as well. Now, Handel never married. It was only basically him and his servant in the house, and anybody else that came to visit. The only two women that people think it might have been was two of his opera singers, Faustina Bordini or Francesca Cuzzoni, Italians, of course. They could have been them. That's what people speculate. But there's been so many years since Handel's been in that house. They could have been female ghosts of anybody. But to make sure that the house was safe, the Handel's House Trust actually called in a priest to exorcise the house and clear the ghosts away, if there was any there to begin with. And on the other side, the Jimi Hendrix side, who knows? Lots of people would have stayed there as well. And it could have been Handel or maybe someone totally different as well. Now, when I went through the house, as I said, a lot of years have gone by and a lot of different energies would have gone through the house. And I'm a believer that surroundings pick up energies and retain them and do maybe play them back or radiate them, so to speak, because you can walk into a house and feel pleasant or uneasy, and I believe that's the energy you're picking up. And there's been so many things that have gone through that house over the centuries that the energies would have changed, especially with the renovations as well. Completely would have changed the energies in that house. So I didn't actually feel anything. In fact, I felt more in Jimi Hendrix. place in the little flat. And then again, that is where Jimi Hendrix said he saw Handel. But it was a nice feeling. There was a nostalgic sort of feel. But then again, it might be the environment. So what do you think? Do you think the place might still be haunted? Do you think Jimi Hendrix saw Handel or saw someone totally different? Or it was his imagination? What do you think? Write down your comments below and let me know. Let's get a conversation going. And if you've enjoyed this topic, click the like button. And I guess I've said, if you've just stumbled across this or you haven't subscribed as yet, please subscribe and click the bell so you'll be notified when I do release another video, and you'll also help to support the channel and we can grow. Feel free to share the video as well. And thank you for Fairy for requesting this video as well. And if you have any requests for me to look at something or investigate something, and if I can, I'll do my best to. So I hope you've enjoyed this episode, and until next time, stay safe and well, and I'll see you soon.